Hello, everyone. Welcome. In this episode, we're going to explore the foundations of discourse analysis and see how language is connected to context, culture, identity, power, and society. What is discourse analysis? In simple terms, discourse analysis is the study of language behind individual words and sentences and examines how language works in real communication, including conversations, interviews, speeches, social media, and written text. In addition, discourse analysis asks more than what does this sentence mean? It also asks what are people doing with language? When we communicate, we are not simply sharing information. We are building relationships, expressing attitudes, performing actions, presenting particular views of the world, and constructing identities. Context and meaning. One of the central ideas in discourse analysis is context. The meaning of an expression often depends on the situation in which it is used. For example, imagine someone saying, "It's cold in here." They might simply be describing the temperature, but depending on the situation, they might actually be asking someone to close a window or turn up the heating. The words are the same, but the meaning and purpose can change depending on the context. So, when analyzing discourse, we need to consider who is speaking, who is listening, where and when is the interaction happening, what is happening, and what cultural expectations are involved. This gives us an important principle. Language cannot always be understood without context. Discourse has a structure. Discourse is not only contextual, it is also has a structure. Communication often follows recognizable patterns. A service interaction, for example, might include a greeting, a request, a response, and a closing. Conversation also involves turn-taking, pauses, interruptions, and ways of starting and ending interactions. These patterns show that communication is organized and that people use language to perform social actions. We greet, request, apologize, agree, disagree, invite, and warn through language. So, language is not only about meaning, it is also about action. Culture and communication. Different cultures have different expectations about greeting, politeness, making requests, apologizing, and expressing disagreement. A way of communicating that seems perfectly natural in one culture may sound unusual in another. These differences do not necessarily mean that one culture is more polite than another. They reflect different cultural expectations about communication. So we can see an important connection. Language is shaped by context, and context is shaped by culture. Language, power, and society. Discourse can also be studied in relation to power, politics, and society. For example, a political speech can be analyzed by looking at repetition, metaphors, word choice, and other rhetorical techniques. But we can also ask who is speaking, who is being addressed, how are different groups represented, what assumptions are being made, and who has power. These questions lead to another important idea. Language does not simply reflect social reality. It can also help construct social reality. For example, the same group of people might be described as activists, protesters, or writers, These different labels can encourage audiences to interpret the same events in different ways. So, language does not simply describe the social world, it also influences how we represent, categorize, and understand it. Discourse and identity. Language also plays an important role in constructing identity. Identity is communicated through much more than words. Our actions, attitudes, values, gestures, appearance, and ways of interacting all contribute to how others understand who we are. Think about how you communicate in different situations. You might speak differently with your friends, your professor, or during a job interview. You may change your vocabulary, tone of voice, body language, or even the topics you discuss. This shows that identity is closely connected to context and social interaction. We do not simply possess an identity, we also present and construct identity through what we say and do. Discourse as performance. Discourse can be understood as a coordinated performance involving language, actions, values, beliefs, gestures, and symbols. Sometimes language itself is an action. Consider the expression, I promise. When we say I promise, we are not simply describing a promise, we are actually performing the act of promising. The same is true when we apologize, agree, invite, or warn someone. So, language does not only describe actions, language can perform actions. Intertextuality. Intertextuality means that texts are connected to other texts. A political speech may refer to an earlier speech. An advertisement may imitate a movie. A social media post may use a phrase from a popular song. We understand these texts partly because of our previous experiences, other texts, and cultural knowledge. In this sense, no text exists completely by itself. Every text exists within a larger cultural and textual environment, and that environment influences how we interpret it. Conclusion. If we summarize discourse analysis in one central idea, it is this: language is not simply a way of describing the world. Language is a form of social action. We use language to create meaning, build relationships, perform actions, construct identities, represent people and events, and understand the social world around us. And that is the foundation of discourse analysis in modern world.